It's easy to take the same route. There's over 50,000 miles of California state highway, and it only takes you to well-known destinations. But if you veer off the highway system, I mean really off it, away from the city streets, far from your neighborhood boulevard, you may just find yourself on one of Bartell's back roads. A road can get you from point A to point B, but in my line of work, an adventure is just a detour away. California grows a lot of food. Over a third of the country's vegetables and 2/3 of the country's fruits and nuts come from California. Farming is a part of California heritage, and here in Loomis, farmers like to display their heritage with barn quilts. These 8x8 foot painted symbols represent what farmers care about most, their land. Over the next half hour, I'm going to introduce you to some of those farmers and show you how they bring food to your table. The sun is coming up over woodland, but tomato harvest started long before the light shined down on the fertile fields of Yolo County.
We're the number 3 county in the state in terms of tomato production. We're towards the end of our season. We've been harvesting since the last week of July.
From the sky, the perfectly straight rows seem to resemble ripples in a lake, a bounty that would take even the most experienced person a lifetime to pick by hand.
And these machines are lifting the plants off the ground, shaking the fruit loose. All the tomatoes are sorted via electronic optical eyes.
In Colusa County, sunflowers have lost their golden color. A combine just outside of the city of Colusa mows through the dried stems and consumes the entire plant. In one massive swath, the plant is fed into the belly of the machine, smashing and separating the seed from the plant's petals and spitting out the leftovers.
It would be way too expensive and time consuming to do what we do without the mechanization. California is one of the most productive states in the nation, in the world in fact, for agriculture.
It takes modern machines to harvest modern plants in California.
We farmers take pride in feeding the world here in California.
And it takes modern farmers to bring food to your table. Barn quilts date back to colonial America. It was a tradition brought over by German immigrants. Much of what we grow in California comes from other parts of the world. For example, kiwis. Next stop, Yuba County. Yuba County is agriculturally rich. It's the land of rice, walnuts, and prunes. But just outside Marysville city limits in the little town of Tambo, kiwi is king.
Where we've interplanted as an organic family farm, we value biodiversity.
This is Wild River Fruit, the largest organic kiwi farm in California. Gooseberries, or kiwis as we know them, have kind of a funny past. They're native to China, but when New Zealand started growing them, they decided to name the fruit after their national bird, the kiwi. The kiwi is a really weird fruit. It actually grows on a vine, much like grapes, but the Nolan's kiwi vineyard grows above your head. Once the kiwis picked off the vine, they head to the packing house.
A lot of the human contact is removed by the machine.
Jose Villalobos is the plant manager, and he runs the show in here. Okay, Kiwi Vision, this looks like a proprietary kind of thing for this fruit.
Yeah, so what this is going to do is basically take pictures of the fruit, and it's going to select defective fruit and kick it out.
So you guys just have a boatload of kiwi selfies in this machine, essentially?
Pretty much, yeah.
You know those really annoying stickers that are sometimes hard to get off your fruit? Yeah, this is the machine that puts them on. So before they had this machine, would someone have to do this by hand?
You know, I don't know. I haven't been around that long.
Kiwi harvest is highly efficient, and thanks to a series of conveyor belts, the fruit is picked and packed in just a matter of hours. It's like a kiwi amusement ride, sort of.
That's what it looks like, yeah.
Next stop, cold storage. It is cold in here.
32 degrees is what it is.
Kiwis are shipped all over the world, and that's because they have a long shelf life if you keep them cold. They can last for up to 8 months. California is the 6th largest producer of farmed catfish, but California catfish catches a higher price than the rest of the US. You know why? Because most of California catfish is sold alive. No, you're not looking at an aquarium. It's an Asian market in South Sacramento. And everything here is fresh, even the frogs. Twice a week, Vicente Anguiano delivers live catfish to Sacramento and the Bay Area. But Vicente is not a fisherman. He's a farmer, a catfish farmer, and he works here at the fishery in Gulf.
For catfish, we're probably the biggest in California.
The fishery is a family-owned business that started in 1975.
A lot of people just don't know about us.
Zachary Beer is a second-generation fish farmer, and it's his job to feed the never-ending demand for catfish.
We go to San Francisco, Oakland, Sacramento.
It takes about 18 months for a catfish to reach maturity, but here at the farm, growth cycles are staggered so that the catfish harvest can happen twice a week.
This is farm to fork right here.
Zach says live catfish can be out of the water and into a restaurant or market within a matter of hours. But to do that, fish farmers have to work fast. I think I just stepped on one. I learned firsthand just how fast they work. We're gonna get wet today, I have a feeling. This farm has over 800 acres of ponds. When the catfish are full grown, they're transferred to smaller holding pens. Supposedly, it makes it easier to catch. So the big hazard here on the job is getting these guys whacked in the face. Whoa, down the pits, down the pits. So you may be wondering, why aren't catfish just pulled from the Sacramento Delta? First off, there's not enough catfish in the Delta to meet demand. Second, Delta catfish are known to have high levels of mercury.
This is all 100% well water, and that makes it where the fish are not going to be absorbing any toxins or anything like that.
All right. Fish farming is becoming a sustainable food source. All the water is recycled from these ponds, and the fish are fed food with natural ingredients, no GMOs. Also, fish farms prevent overfishing in our waterways. The persimmon, it's a complex fruit. It's sweet, yet bitter. It's soft, yet hard. It's really just a taste of its own, and you'll have to try it for yourself. There's an orchard out in Granite Bay that prepares the persimmon the old-fashioned way.
The name of this persimmon is Maru, and it's supposed to be nice and round.
Tosh Karatomi knows the tricky taste of the persimmon well.
People will always try to trick you to bite a persimmon just to watch your reaction when the astringency hit the lining of your mouth.
Tosh is a third-generation farmer at Oto Orchard in Granite Bay.
1910, my mother-in-law's parents started the place.
The persimmon is native to China and Japan, and Oto Orchard is one of the few places that prepare the persimmon in traditional Japanese fashion.
They used to hang them up in their houses.
Air-dried persimmon is an Asian delicacy.
The living room would have racks in it, the bedrooms might have racks in them. The only two rooms that were exempt was the bathroom and the kitchen.
The perfect dried persimmon starts on the tree limb. How about that?
That's a good tear.
Hey-o. The fruit must be just the right color and just the right softness before it can be peeled. How many of these do you peel a day?
Probably 600 to 800.
The next step is tying a string to the stem, a step that Tosh's 100-year-old mother-in-law keeps a close eye on. How are we doing? Like that? Okay, all right. We got the seal of approval here. The persimmons will hang from the drying rack for about 3 to 4 weeks. Periodically, the fruit will get a rub down to even out the drying process. What is the technical term of this? Persimmon massaging?
Yeah.
Tosh's wife is in charge of quality control. It's one of the most important parts because a single dried persimmon could be worth as much as $5. Barn quilts can be found all over California. You may even find a few on our interactive map. Just go to abc10.com/backroads to create your adventure. When we come back, we're gonna head to Butte County to taste from the very first citrus tree in California. Also, stay tuned for this story, a yak ranch up in Sierra County. It was gold that brought people to California, but some may argue that it was agriculture that kept them here. About the same time that gold was discovered in California, it was discovered that citrus would also grow here as well. When the sounds of accordions, bass drums, and the bajo sexto resonates through the orchard, there's a good chance it's harvest season at Mandarin Hill in Penryn.
Mandarin season for me starts the 1st of November, runs till mid-January.
Now, you can't just pick mandarins. It takes a skilled hand to harvest them.
It has to be clipped, or else, because if you pull it, the peel comes out. So unsaleable.
From the tree to the processing plant, it takes less than an hour for the fruit to be sorted.
And then right here, the gate is a different height. So what we're doing is we're separating by sizes.
12,000 pounds of mandarins can run through this machine every day. If that sounds like a lot of citrus, it is.
In California, I believe it's a $4 billion industry.
Mandarins are native to China, but they would never have set root in California had it not been for the orange tree. It is really tart. Really tart. This is the mother orange tree, the first citrus tree in California. Yeah, we've come a long ways, I think.
Good.
The mother orange tree lives at the state park's district office in Oroville.
163. Yeah. She's been through a couple freezes. She's been uprooted and transplanted twice, one due to flooding.
Before 1856, citrus trees did not exist in California. The mother orange tree was planted next to Bidwell Bar Bridge during the gold rush.
The miners used to come along at Bidwell Bar where she was placed and take her fruit and enjoy some oranges and then plant the seeds.
It didn't take long for citrus trees of all kinds to be planted all over California. It was gold that brought many people to California, but it was citrus trees that kept many of those people farming right here. All right, so citrus trees weren't the only thing brought over during the gold rush. Italian immigrants also planted olive pits all over Calaveras County, and some of them are still growing today. Bedoin Olives is a one-man show. And that's because there really isn't another table olive producer in Calaveras County.
There are zero, except for me, okay? I am it.
So wait, how long are these staying in here now?
9 to 11 months.
9 to 11 months.
Right. I'm dipping for olives right now, and these are all completely processed Sicilian-style olives.
From curing the olives to stacking them on the grocery store shelf, Terry Bedoin does it all. He even helped write a book about Calaveras olives. The only thing that Terry doesn't do is grow the olives. So how old are some of these trees here in Calaveras?
These trees were planted, we think, in around 1865.
The first olive tree in California was planted right here in Calaveras County. Italian immigrants brought them over during the gold rush and the construction of the Transcontinental Railroad. And for a while, Calaveras olives dominated the industry.
The olive industry in Calaveras County completely went fallow for about 50, 60 years.
Up until 1963, Rocabella Olive Processing owned nearly all the olive orchards in the county. But when the company shut down, so did the olive industry. This is Rocabella today. Cows dominate the orchard, but olives are making a comeback.
Olive trees are just super resilient, and they just live forever.
These days, the new owner of Rocabella makes olive oil, and Terry Bedoin makes table olives.
And so I like to say God makes the olives, I make them taste good.
Northern California has a diverse terrain here, and that allows farmers to raise diverse animals like Spirit, the alpaca. But up in Sierra County, they raise much more diverse animals, like yaks. Sierra County is beef country. Cows are everywhere. There's even a sign asking you to eat them. But if you drive into the little town of Calpine off Highway 89, you'll find a different kind of bovine.
Take out the papers and the trash.
Don't talk back.
Yakety yak, yakety yak.
This is Sierra Valley Yak Ranch.
Hey, yak.
Home to some of the happiest yaks in California.
Don't talk back.
So it started as a joke that Jenna took a little too far.
Just like everyone else in Sierra County, Jenna and Greg Gatto were cattle ranchers. But then in 2015, Jenna and Greg decided to diversify the herd.
She got on Wikipedia, and about 2 weeks later, she said, we're going to Idaho, we're getting a yak.
What started out as one yak turned into two. And today, they have a whole herd of yaks.
This is Kinsey. She had her first calf this summer.
The yak is native to the Himalayas, often found in high altitudes. Turns out that Calpine, California is pretty similar.
We do meat and fiber, and then eventually we'd like to do dairy.
You won't find many restaurants serving yak burgers yet, so Greg and Jenna primarily focus on fiber.
What we'll do is we'll just take a dog comb,
okay,
and you just comb them out like this.
Fun fact, yak fiber is warmer than sheep's wool and hypoallergenic.
Similar to a cashmere.
Do the yaks like this, you think? Giving them a little...
Some do, some don't. I would be careful, just standing behind. Yeah.
Okay. Yaks are pretty docile animals, but you do want to steer clear of their rear end.
Specs. We're still working out the kinks.
Greg and Jenna's yaks are pampered yaks. One of the perks of living on the farm is regular pedicures.
Let's see if we can trim some of that back heel.
Trim there. After a little hoof trim, it's time to milk the yak. We're getting really personal. Well, Northern California farms offer a great backdrop for those unique selfies, and you can find more of these selfie locations on our interactive map. Just log on to abc10.com/backroads to make your own adventure. Next stop, we head up to Yuba County to meet the Mushroom Man. Dirt! It's a natural home for anything that grows, but not all dirt is created equal. A farmer out in Yuba County uses a special blend of dirt to grow his mushrooms. There's nothing odd about seeing a tractor in Yuba County. And there's nothing odd about a little compost. But what is odd is what this tractor is doing with the compost. So what is this stuff again?
This is our black gold. This is mushroom compost.
Mushroom food.
Yeah.
This is Mushroom Adventures in Marysville. Sort of like an alien world in here.
I know.
And this is Donald Simone, also known as the Mushroom Man.
We make mushroom growing kits, and we also grow fresh mushrooms, which we sell at farmers markets.
The mushroom growing business is complex.
And when we put that little bit of mycelium in there, those make connections, and every place where there's a connection from the top back down to the bottom is where a mushroom grows.
The reason that mushroom growing is so complex is because you have to make the right mixture of compost. Why is it getting so hot in here?
It's thermal biology, it's the microbes.
You see, compost is a living organism that can generate heat upwards of 150 degrees. Don makes a variety of different mushroom composts on site.
These are a sawdust block, okay. and the shiitake mycelium holds the block together.
So compost isn't the only ingredient to make mushrooms.
There it is.
Mushrooms require just the right amount of humidity and climate-controlled rooms. But when you get the conditions just right, the mushrooms will multiply. Mushroom harvest takes a crew of people, and they have to work fast. The mushrooms have a short shelf life of just 2 weeks.
Yeah, the adventure is watching it go from a box full of dirt or sawdust into a beautiful fruit body that's consumable.
The mushroom business is odd and complex. Thankfully, the Mushroom Man is doing all the dirty work for you. Sticky rice. It's an essential ingredient for the California roll. Chances are, if you're eating sushi, the sticky rice was grown right here in the Golden State. Time is money, and rice farmers are behind schedule. Rice seed needs to be planted, and the fastest way to do it is by plane. NASCAR's got nothing on these guys. They're like a rice pit crew. In a matter of minutes, 1,800 pounds of seed is loaded up.
It's pretty fast paced when it's going.
Then with a few low-flying swoops, it all rains down. Well, that's some real skill. These pilots got a lot of obstacles they gotta watch out for. Tractors just finished plowing the field. The ground has to be completely level, so Pilot Barry Register can use his GPS to drop the seed in just the right spot.
We have a precision line up and down each path.
He's moving about 80 miles an hour. In about 10 days, there will be rice poking out of the water. All right, so we're nearing the end of our Northern California farm tour, but you can see more stories just like this. Go to abc10.com/backroads and check out our interactive map. When we come back, we're heading to Auburn to check out apple harvest. Crab apples are the only native apple to North America, and quite frankly, they don't taste very good. Good news is, California grows hundreds of varieties of apples, and an orchard in Auburn makes the best apple pie out of them. If the iconic red and white blimp is in the sky, chances are pies are in the oven at Machado's orchard. Machado's has been growing fruit for 95 years. Galas are generally the first to be picked, but the colder temperatures are not really a bad thing.
Yeah, the colder it gets, the better they are.
Unfortunately, in this climate, it's getting harder to find more people to pick the early fruit. And that means it's harder to get that fruit into the pies.
We don't have a lot of help out in the orchard, so it's hard on them.
Keeping up with staffing and supply and demand is a never-ending job for a farmer.
When it goes up, the world knows we're open.
At least this year, the early cold temperatures are giving apple growers a head start. The backroads of California's farmland are a great place to learn about agriculture, and you can create your own agriculture adventure by logging on to abc10.com/backroads and checking out our interactive map. And hey, if you have any ideas for me, go ahead and send me a message on my Facebook. I'm John Bartell. Hope to see you on the back road.